Are you an aspiring UI and UX designer, feeling overwhelmed by the countless concepts and knowledge you need to master to break into the industry? Look no further. Let's conquer the biggest challenges together and ignite your career as a top-notch designer. This is the first video in my Crash Course series where we cover all basics that you need to follow in any successful project. I will guide you through the essentials, delivering only what you need to know to get started in the industry. Having that out of the way, let's focus on the 4 pillars that you need to cover first in every project before you fire up Figma or any design tool of choice. Those pillars are context, user goals, research, and patterns. Primary aspect of any design project is its context. You need to understand the idea for the project. You need to know what people will use your product and what they want to achieve through your interface, even if it's imaginary and made solely for your portfolio. This is one of the breaking points for most of you trying to start a project during this phase of your career development. Because you fire Figma, name your project and nothing. What are you trying to design? You don't know. For whom you are designing? You don't know that either. Now you maybe watch some inspiration pieces of other designers at Dribbble, maybe some tutorials here at YouTube, or you go to make something to eat. Thing is, your project stays empty and you don't even know what to do next. Most likely at this moment you will feel this wave of frustration and discouragement. In real, day-to-day job as a designer, projects will come to you in form of company product needs, direct request from your boss, or a client which will guide your hand. But if you never worked as a designer before, there is nothing to kickstart your project but yourself. So think about an idea for an app or a website, any idea that seems realistic to you. Now, what would that be? E-commerce site, social media app, learning app, whatever that may be, think about a human that would use it and for what reason. What does he or she wants to achieve? Do you know? Take your best guess, maybe use your own life experience as reference. That way we arrive at second pillar of any successful project, which are user goals. You have your idea. Now try and think about the potential users, who they are, what they are doing in life, what problems are they having. Are they highly skilled specialists or casual people? Try to define them as specific as you can. Now think about them in context of your user interface, how it will serve them, how it will solve their problems or address their needs. Those are the questions you need to find an answer to in order to guide your design decisions. And also this is the third pillar. Research. There are many research methods that would allow you to discover the target group of your product. We can divide them into 2 groups, qualitative and quantitative. As the name suggests, the first group focuses on analysis of statistical data, that means numbers, and second, with people, in order to discover and define a target group for your product. The most useful would be surveys, which is a type of quantitative method, and then interviews, observations, and competitor analysis, which are quantitative methods. You have your idea, right? So start by searching the internet for similar solutions. Sign up to them, enroll in the trial, and note what functionalities they offer. Deduce and write down what problems they are trying to solve and how. Read their marketing materials, how they are speaking to potential customers. Most likely from this step alone, you will have a much better understanding of your target group and the challenges they are dealing with. Now, use that knowledge and formulate a hypothesis of what problems or needs your target group has and how potentially you will solve them through your user interface. Once you have those, rewrite them in a form of simple questions and make a survey out of them. Use first questions to filter through if you are indeed dealing with your target group representative. Example of question may look like this. Did you encounter this problem in your job in the recent months? Are you familiar with this concept? And then ask questions related to your hypothesis, for which answers would validate them. To find your potential targets, use social media groups that deal with the interests that your target group may have. Are you dealing with cat lovers? Look for cat groups on Facebook, enroll in them, and make a post that you are working on a project that aims to solve their problems, and ask them to answer some questions. Typically, it's the most problematic area for starting designers. So if you struggle with finding the right people, maybe look for them within your friends and family. I bet you will be able to find at least a couple of people that match your target group in some manner. Apart from surveys, you can just meet and simply talk with those people. Ask the questions that would validate your hypothesis. Depending on your idea, you may be also able to find those people in the real world. Then just go to the places where they gather and observe. How are they doing their tasks? With what you see they struggle with, what would help them? Would they be able to improve those things through your app, those observations might be a good idea if your target group visits or gathers in the public places. But if your idea deals with certain specializations, like medical or corporate ones, it may be hard for you to get to those places, so it won't always work. Now, once you go through this phase, the last thing to consider is the last pillar, which deals with behavioral patterns of your target group. Simply consider with what they are familiar with. How are they interacting with the technology or other solutions they are using during the day? They want to safely explore and don't break anything, so you also need to make sure that whatever you design caters to that. Learning something new is typically challenging, so users expect the interface to work and behave similar to whatever they were using in the past. Don't introduce unfamiliar patterns or behaviors. Most of the time, users don't really want to provide lengthy information about themselves again and again. So make sure that getting into your app or product doesn't require them to put extensive information right from the start. In the next part, we will cover information architecture, which will allow you to structure the information presented in your project.